NPR is suing the Trump administration, and they're being joined by 3 Colorado public radio stations. They're trying to block an executive order that would cut off funding for NPR and PBS. The lawsuit alleges that order violates the First Amendment. So joining us now to break this all down is our legal expert, Whitney Traylor. And we're going to talk a little bit about this lawsuit and what the merit is behind it to the claims. Because the lawsuit itself, these stations are joining in. It's a big lawsuit nationwide.
Yes. Right. Yeah, and it's one of the lawsuits. It's very similar to a number of the other lawsuits against the Trump administration as it relates to withholding this federal funding. And essentially what these stations are saying, CPR and others, is that, hey, this money was allocated by Congress, and you can't just, with an executive order,
take it away.
Take it away, exactly. And they're saying, so there's procedural issues. They didn't follow the Administrative Procedure Act. When doing so, you have to go and get congressional approval. And they're also saying it violates constitutional principles. So the First Amendment, freedom of speech and press, and the Fifth Amendment, due process, which says before you can have your life, liberty, or property taken, you're entitled to certain due process. And they're saying, hey, this is our property. This was money allocated. So that's the lawsuit in a nutshell. I know all these constitutional issues are really complex, and we try and cover it in such a short time, but that's the 10,000-foot view.
I think you put it in layman's terms perfectly.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Talk to us, Whitney, about the plaintiff's attorneys. A lot of people are surprised by the unlikely people that they are. So please talk to us about them.
No, it's interesting, and this is sort of like when the ACLU represents the KKK or something, when they're trying to say, hey, it's about the right, the speech right. And so here they had a very strong, it was Gibson, Dunn and Crutcher, the law firm, major law firm. They have a presence here in Colorado, and this was a one-time Republican federal appeals court nominee for the D.C. Court of Appeals, Miguel Estrada, and he was nominated by George Bush, but prevented by the Democrats from getting in. And so now, and he's argued before the Supreme Court over 20 times. So he's very experienced. So, interestingly, this big time Republican in the legal field is now suing the Trump administration. And then the other attorney from Gibson, Dunn and Crutcher, he's represented media outlets for years and years. He was the lead attorney in the CNN 2018 lawsuit accusing Trump of similar activity. So they have some big time.
Well, it's kind of smart that you would have, you would appeal by saying we have somebody that's got a conservative background. We're not just all liberals, Democrats that are fighting this kind of thing. But when you think about this lawsuit itself, how far do you think it'll go? Is it going to be a settlement? Is it more of a statement? Is it something that, you keep pursuing and it just drags out?
Yeah. Well, it's a good question. In a lot of ways, this is how our laws are developed. This is called common law or judge-made law. This is what we got from England after the Revolution, but we followed their model of judge-made law. So essentially, whatever the judge rules on the trial court level, it will be appealed, and then what the appellate courts say, that then becomes binding law. So this is helping us to shape our law and see. I mean, one thing I used to tell my students all the time, the Trump administration is really good for our democracy because we're truly testing its measures, and we're testing notions of separation of powers, and do we have equal branches of government, because that's really what this is about. Since in this Trump 2.0, he has really consolidated power in the executive branch. And one way he's doing that is saying, if I don't agree with what you do and say, I'm going to withhold this federal funding. And in this case, it's a complete violation of the First Amendment. So I think he's going to ultimately lose, whether it goes to trial or not. I suspect it will go to trial because it will be on the papers. It'll be quick. It won't be a lot of witnesses. So I think we'll see this going to trial soon.
Unbelievable.
It's going to be interesting to follow. Yeah, all of it. I think you're right. You make a point, is that we're testing a lot of things, and that's the important part to follow. And we need a legal person to walk us through it.
Precedents, too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we just got to hope that our system actually withstands this test. And I think it will. Everybody talks about, the lawyers doing away with the lawyers. But it's the lawyers that are actually maintaining this and asserting these lawsuits and maintaining the boundaries of our democracy, which is, I think, what the Founding Fathers were envisioning. So I think we're okay.
You've always got a job. Thank you, Whitney.
Exactly.
You're always employed.
All right. Appreciate that.